Clear where these porn performers are coming from, because as well as this grimmer side of it, you're seeing they're becoming more popular as well. Porn stars, in particular, one of the richest porn stars in America became a star on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
That's exactly right. Now, this is really important to talk about Jenna Jameson, because she's really the first ever porn star. And really, a porn star is a woman who moves from pornography to pop culture seamlessly. And she's the only woman who really did this. And now you've got another one called Sasha Grey who's doing this. But what Jenna Jameson did was basically act as a recruitment tool for the porn industry. Because previously, I would say the vast majority of women who went into pornography had histories of sexual abuse. But today, what you're seeing is, I think, more and more working class women who are looking at, minimum wage jobs for the rest of their life, turn on E! Entertainment, turn on Oprah Winfrey, and they get to see this Jenna Jameson's house, her beautiful clothes, her art collection, and this acts as a way to bring in young women who don't understand what's going to happen to them in pornography, who might consent, but they don't know what they're consenting to, and they come into the industry and they get spat out within a few months, and then there's always more coming in. So really what's happening is you're seeing a change in the kind of women who are going into the industry, and more, I think, are going in because they think they can become the next Jenna Jameson.
Okay, so Gail obviously doesn't understand what a porn star is. It's just anyone who appears in a pornographic film. Well, she probably thinks Jenna Jameson's the most famous porn star. Well, no, she's not. That goes to Ron Jeremy, actually. But anyway, she says she's the first ever porn star. What about Nina Hartley? She came way before Jenna Jameson. Let's see, she started when Jenna Jameson was 10. Yeah, so this concept is just not what a porn star is. It's just anyone who's in a pornographic film. Yeah, she's mentioned Sasha Grey's pretty popular, but there are lots of women who aren't attractive, really, that go in there. And that's what we're talking, or they may not do what people want them to do. So, no, they're not gonna, be the next Jenna Jameson or whatever. But Linda Lovelace, of course, she's way back there, Gail does not even know what a porn star is. She just makes up shit and just pulls these definitions out of her ass and doesn't understand what the definition of these words is. So, in terms of Gail, there's no point of communication. She did it again with Gonzo, obviously, as I spoke about earlier. She's doing it again with what a porn star is. She just pulls these definitions out of her ass and makes it up.
How did Oprah Winfrey justify this glamorization of the porn industry? I mean, did she ask, the gruesome questions about what it must have been like to be doing that kind of work for many years on it?
Well, she basically skirted the issue, and what she was kind of fawning over Jenna Jameson. And what she did, which I thought was really, unquestionable about how you used her, was they went to her house and they showed her private art collection and her cars. And I thought this was a great way to show that, look, this is how women get wealthy in pornography. And what she didn't show, what Oprah Winfrey did not bring on her show, was for everyone Jenna Jameson. You have thousands and thousands of women who are spat out by this industry, end up poor, barely own the clothes on their back. That's the real story of pornography that you very rarely see in the media.
I don't know any feminist who would rip someone who's done just amazing things such as Oprah. I mean, Oprah is a very, very successful woman, to say the least. That seems just out there for a feminist to rip a woman like Oprah. She's done so many great things and proves that women can be successful. She's really successful. She's probably the most successful woman I can think of. If you think of Max, name a successful woman, well, I'll just tell you Oprah. She's probably the most I can't think of any woman that's more successful. And to bash Oprah to put on your pet cause as a feminist, I don't know. You know, I don't know if she was trying to, promote Jenna Jameson, but that's just, it's on her show. She can do it, but I see what you're saying, and it's weird to. I think it's just almost anti-feminist to rip someone like Oprah. Wow, I never thought Gail would say something bad about Oprah.
Let's talk more about the industry, because you say they are hell-bent on creating a pool of permanent addicts in the same way that the tobacco industry or the alcohol industry have done that over many, many years. And you're actually saying this is a public health issue now.
Absolutely. Well, let me give you an example of the addict part. Is that in Adult Video News, they ran an article a few years ago called The Distracted Consumer, and they were very happy because they said they reckon that 1 in 5 men who go to internet pornography is an addict. And this, of course, was good news for the industry. And what the article then went on to do was to talk about how you can create software that keeps the addict more addicted on the website. So they were looking at ways to enhance and increase the addiction. And it's like any other industry. Pornography is an industry. The tobacco industry, the alcohol industry, they want addicts because they're the major consumers of the product. Now also what you're seeing increasingly as younger and younger boys are getting into this, it's getting encoded into their sexual DNA, and they're looking for more and more pornography. So this is the serious problem about what's going on. And I never really used to believe in addiction. I used to think it was men's way to not take responsibility. But if you listen to psychologists, if you read what Adult Video News is saying, and if I can't tell you how many emails I get each day from men who tell me just how addicted to pornography they really are.
Okay, I don't know if pornography is intended to be addictive. I mean, it's just, I would doubt that, I don't know if I doubt, but I would question if the alcohol industry wants to create addicts, especially those who make wine, expensive wines. People, who make, expensive stuff. The alcohol industry is wide, I think, and so is the tobacco industry. Even, I mean, the ones who make cigars, I don't know if they want to get them addicted. I don't think cigars are like cigarettes. I do think the companies that make cigarettes and the dip, the smokeless tobacco and all that, they're trying to create addicts. I know what makes it addictive. My father's a doctor. He's told me, what makes these things such as cigarettes or crack or meth addictive. It's not the ones that are just powerful. It's the ones that act fast. So, what I've been hearing, yes, a lot of the tobacco industry has put a lot of catalysts in there to get it to react quicker, so it becomes more addictive. It's chemically addictive, though. Pornography is not chemically addictive. Yeah, it's like saying weed is addictive. Weed is not chemically addictive. That's pretty well known. It may be mentally addictive. It may make a habit. It may be habit forming, like pornography, but if you stop smoking weed, you will not vomit. You will not just, have horrible migraines. And the same goes for pornography. Like, if you stop taking something like crystal meth or heroin, you will have horrible negative side effects. So, I would doubt that it's something that they want to create a pool of addicts for. There are people who do get addictive, but that's not their main goal. I mean, those people probably a lot of them die because they can't even pay for it, so they just get it for free because they don't have a job. You know, they're living on welfare. Fuck. So the people who are paying for it make decent amounts of money, probably. So I don't know. It just seems like, you know, a weird theory to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this issue of young boys, because you've made this shocking and I would argue highly contestable statement. You say we're raising a generation of boys who are cruel, bored and desensitised. I mean, aren't you sort of exaggerating this effect? I mean, to start with, it's impossible really to know how many boys we're talking about, isn't it? I mean, you've given this figure of an average of age 11, but no one really knows whether that's true or not.
Well, there are studies, studies done across the West to say that, sometimes between 65 and 85% of boys by the age of 13 have viewed pornography more than once. Now, the thing is, we know that images impact on the way we think about the world. If that was not the case, we would not have a multi-billion-dollar-a-year advertising industry. By virtue of the fact we have advertising, we know that these images affect the way you think about the world, affect your consumer choices, affect who you are in the world. Now, if advertising can do that, why can't pornography? And these images are very powerful. Remember, they send messages to men's brains via the penis, which is an incredibly powerful delivery system, and it's very hard to walk away from those images. So what concerns me as somebody who has studied media images for over 20 years is, what does it mean for a young 11-year-old boy who's got really no history of sex to compare those images to? What does it mean that this is his first introduction to pornography? And what does it mean that it is accessible 24 hours a day? So what I'm saying is, this is a social experiment. We have never before brought up a generation of boys on hardcore pornography, and I can tell you that the studies are showing, and the anecdotal evidence from psychologists are showing, that this is not good news. It's not good news for the boys because their sexuality is being hijacked, and it's certainly not good news for the women and the girls that they're going to date, because they're insisting that these girls and women perform porn sex. And my interviews with young women tell me that they feel completely backed into a corner by these men and boys.
I didn't really have much to say about this. The boys part, I covered that earlier. It's not the responsibility of the pornography industry for children, but what I am going to cover is what she said at the very end, which was that girls feel backed into a corner. Well, here's the deal. When you're getting into a relationship, it needs to be a mutual decision, okay? You don't have to date that guy. No one said you had to, okay? And if he is forcing you to, then your human rights are being violated, and he needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It doesn't make any sense to say that. I mean, most girls will just dump the guy, okay? You don't need to be blaming porn for it. And I mean, if those guys also want to look at porn and not date women, that's their business. And believe it or not, Gail, yeah, I'm single, okay? So, I mean, I don't want to get into a relationship right now. It's not something I have an interest in doing. I don't know if I ever will. And that's my business. That's my right to not be in a relationship. And it's something that is part of everyone's human rights. There are people who don't want to be in a relationship. I mean, personally, I'm worried about the risks, of divorce, I don't want to have kids either. Lots of women want to have kids. But I'm rambling, but these girls do not have to date these guys. No one's forcing them to. That's just something that you're pulling out of your ass, and I mean, it's bullshit. There are still guys who don't watch it, probably. Very often. I mean, yeah, all guys whack off, but I mean, there are probably some that aren't big fans of it and have girlfriends, okay? I mean, but the point is,
it's your decision if you want to date the guy or not. It's not being forced on you by any stretch of the imagination.